Cradle, The Rise of the Chosen, Chapter 2. 12 years later. The stone buildings always had an effect on him. The way they contrasted with the palms and the tall bluegrass and the ever blue skies as it had been for about 2.5 years now. Tihao, the blessed weather teller, said it was because of the new whale pods way off in the ocean. There had been sighting of these whales and they were bright red, something never seen before. Tihao wasn't superstitious, which was ironic because he was a weather teller, but he believed the whales came through an atoll in the depths of Bizrael. An atoll is a portal in the general sense, for Tao didn't know what was on the other side of this portal and which spirit sign it came from. Bizrael is what the ancients call the Pacific. It was entirely annoying to be in the capital today. Taikuma, now 18, had to think of his stupid life rather than just living it, as he would put it. All of his friends were married, and most already had a child or two. He barely had a girlfriend. Etc. was smart. She was beautiful. She also made Taikuma happy by how she pampered him and followed his lead when she wanted to. But he was still young at heart. The world was magical to him in a way that was long gone in the others and his own friends. Etc. was a shaman, and she was pretty damn good, in Taikuma's own words, but in some ways he felt he was closer to the Uploa than she was. Uploa is simply a term for the unseen force. She was a woman, as he was a man, but he still lived with his mom and dad, while she had her own nice hut in the capital. He liked going over her house, but she kept trying to make love, and he wanted to, very badly, but the hysteria came, and she said he was bound to lose his virginity to another. And in the vision, it made it clear that he wasn't in bed with etc. It was all off-putting because it made him wonder if she was secretly evil, but deep down he knew she wasn't, and he loved her anyway. But he did agree that he felt bonded to another, but he knew he hadn't met this woman yet. All this thinking about love was getting irritating, and it was distracting him from most likely the most important decision of his life. He had to pick a core. His mother wanted to take advantage of his Interiama and wished he'd core in the Olinta, royalty in the governing trade. He thought that was cool, but he didn't feel the slightest responsible compared to the others his age. He wasn't a leader, and that was just the truth of it. Also, because of the Interiama, his father thought he should vow to the Trota, the local sect of shamans. His dad said he could feel the power of Taikuma's spirit, and he said if he developed his power, he might become a great roof, conduit to the gods. And that was Taikuma's whole problem with his dad's dream for him. Everybody, even etc., believed there was more than one god, but Taikuma always knew there was only one. He never spoke this because he could easily have been killed for saying that, but it was the truth. So if it was his choice, he'd want to be a comb, a professional scientist. The decision was purely based on how fun it would be. He learned in a few of his classes that the ancients almost made it to the stars, and that became his dream, to bring his people to a new star and find the realm of paradise through science. Yeah, he had the full Itarama, but his spirit was odd and mysterious. It told him to do things that didn't fit with what he believed or what he wanted. He knew if he chose to be calm, he'd let everybody down. He was walking on a path on the outer rim of the center of the capital. The villagers didn't give him two looks most of the time, even though he was wearing a green robe worn by graduates of Faussaire, which was the general term for school. His hair was very short, and the breeze on his head was heavenly. His mother never liked it when he did that. She loved his big curly black hair. And so he walked briskly through the corridor of shrubbery and lawns and entered the capital's education auditorium, the Adafiri. This was all by appointments, the ceremony, and he knew by the position of Munir, the sun, that it was his time. Inside the auditorium, the elders of the council sat on silk ornate cushions of violet, azure, gold, and black. The men were mostly darker skinned, which during this time denoted wisdom. The council, McCall, from left to right, was Ute, a slender, sleepy-eyed man in his late 50s. Rhaegon, a muscular, sharp-jawed man in his early 40s, a veteran in the warrior class, but turned into an education bureaucrat by vision. Jictu, another slender man with long singus, dreads dyed in blonde color at the tips, and on the far right, the one with the most authority, Kudos Vibina, a tall, copper-toned skinned man like Takuma, with a long black zine bracketed with silver jewelry. "Behold, our young star," Ute greeted as Takuma stood in rest in front of the mall. "Behold the revealed elders," Takuma answered. "Takuma, how are you?" Kudos Vibina asked with genuine interest in his kind eyes. Takuma debated whether to be bold or honest. "Honestly, I'm a bit nervous." "Why?" Kudos shifted in his cushion to hear better. "My family has big dreams." The men looked at each other and laughed brashly and then nodded in short thought. "We've all been there. But you know what?" "What, sir?" "This is your time to be your own man. Yes, you can choose to make your family happy and follow that Ega that way. Or you can be of true service to your village. Which will it be? Which core are you choosing? Spit it out, Kadiso, my smart friend." In that moment, all he could see was the browns of his mother's eyes and his own eyes itched too, where the Itoriyama were. He looked down at his robe, and it was black instead of green, and he knew he was seeing. A black robe meant de jure, or authority to judge. Olhinta. The elders murmured among themselves for a short moment, and then Kudos Vibina cleared his throat. The blessed eyes speak." Takuma nodded and smiled. "It is so," spoke Ute. "Upon my authority as secretary of this meeting, Takuma is a new man of authority of the village." "Yes, you may take your leave," Kudos said, smiling widely. Takuma pressed his robe over his stomach and bowed. The Nulti, fireflies, were out in force in the early evening. As he walked up the neat dirt path to Acetra's hut, he felt that the fireflies were purposely avoiding him, which made him wonder about his decision to visit his girlfriend tonight. He was already late bringing his mom the news, but being in the capital with her so close, it seemed like a good idea. Huantik, 30 minutes ago. "Kum, Acetra bellowed as she opened her straw door. "My baby!" Takuma walked inside and hugged her and quickly noticed Nemu, her friend. He broke out in a cold sweat for some reason and knew he should have never visited. "The coolest bro, Takuma," Nemu joked. Takuma sat at the end of the couch and rubbed his feet in an effort to look comfortable. Acetra came back from the pantry with drinks. "You know it's bad luck to drink on commencement days," Takuma objected. "I charmed it," answered Acetra. "No," he said firmly. "You are always such a nerd," Nemu chided. "How have you been, Nemu?" Takuma asked. "Oh, just preparing ceremony in the outer villages." "Pohira?" "Of course, what do you think?" "Staying safe, I see," he answered. "That's right," Nemu said. Takuma looked over at Acetra and she was still holding the drinks and was fuming. Nemu noticed too and frowned exaggeratedly. She stood up and grabbed her pouch. "I'll leave you lovebirds to it." The young woman puckered air kisses at each other, and Acetra got even colder once Nemu was out the door. She was still standing, holding the drinks. "Take it easy, okay?" Takuma complained. Acetra shrugged and sat on the couch, not too close to her boyfriend. After a long silence, she said, "I saw that you chose Olhinta." This caused Takuma's heart to thump erratically in his chest. "Yeah, it fits you. It's sexy." "Yeah, thanks." Before he could form an exit, she embraced him and laid a deep kiss on him. He simply fell into it, like he needed it like nothing before. They kissed for a few more moments, and he could feel that his forehead was tense and clammy. That wasn't good, and he knew it. "Let tonight be our first time, Takuma. Take me." She took off her top, and it was too much for him. He was cold everywhere but his loins. He suspected she put Aintu in the air, a love charm, and it was clear as day what the stira said, that he shouldn't lose his virginity to etc. because his soul was bounded to another woman. But now they were both completely naked, and it was all but going to happen in half a moment, and it was just about to occur. "You are mine," she whispered, and it was then that he used all his strength to get up from underneath her and dress. It was astounding how fast he dressed and went to the door. It was a miracle because he was practically already resigned to the act. Initu Jihiri. There is no direct translation of this saying in English, but it essentially means the spirit of mine shakes. It was an outdated term at that, but that was all he could muster. "That's my boy," his mom said when he told her what he chose as his path. "You are a leader." "No, I'm not, Mom. I chose it for you." "You are indeed a leader. You don't see yet. You have that power.